Number 5. Glacial plane wreck. The plane wreck on Solheimsfjörður glacial outwash plain in South Iceland is a star in its own right. It's appeared in countless traveler photos, a Bollywood movie, TV commercials, and even music videos. The haunting scenery, with its composition of black sand and weathered gray plain, attracts thousands of visitors each year. However, how the plane crashed remains a mystery. Official U.S. records state that it happened on November 24th, but that's incorrect. The true date and time was on the afternoon of November 21st, 1973, as reported by local media and eyewitness accounts. The cause of the crash is still unclear, with various theories ranging from human error and mechanical failure to the plane running out of fuel or being caught in a storm. But one of the most popular theories suggests that the pilot accidentally switched to the wrong fuel tank, leading to the crash. The ill-fated plane was on its way back to Keflavik from Höfn, southeast Iceland, after delivering equipment for a U.S. radar station, when suddenly it found itself battling a fierce storm with thick fog, powerful gusts of wind, icy conditions, and temperatures dropping below 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Captain James Wick and his co-pilot Gregory Fletcher fought against the elements and mechanical difficulties. However, both engines failed, causing the plane to lose altitude. Then, with poor visibility and the threat of crashing into a mountain, Fletcher made a daring decision to attempt an emergency landing on the sea. As they descended through the clouds, they discovered a landscape that resembled the surface of the moon. With quick reflexes, Fletcher miraculously managed to land the plane safely on the frozen beach, just meters from the crashing waves. Amazingly, all 5 crew members survived the crash without injuries, but the plane, on the other hand, suffered extensive damage, so they swiftly evacuated the aircraft, fearing a fire due to the plane's damaged fuel tanks. Help was already on the way, as their distress call had been picked up by a passing Hercules transport, and within an hour, a U.S. rescue helicopter airlifted them to safety. The U.S. Navy decided that the recovery of the plane from its remote crash site near the ocean was too challenging, so after stripping the wreckage of any valuable items, the empty husk was left on the sand. For years, the plane served as a storage for a farmer living nearby and became a target for local hunters practicing their marksmanship. Gregory Fletcher, the plane's co-pilot and hero behind the successful emergency landing, later received an Air Medal Bronze Star for his bravery. The plane itself was one of 4 Douglas Dakota planes based at the U.S. Navy's Keflavik Airport, which played a crucial role in monitoring Soviet military movements during the Cold War. Although often mistaken for a DC-3, the plane was actually a modified version called the Super DC-3, officially known as the Douglas C-117. All 4 Dakotas had previously served in the Korean and Vietnam Wars and met their final fate in Iceland, with 3 others damaged during takeoff at Keflavik. Now, the abandoned plane wreck on Solheimsfjörður continues to captivate visitors from around the world, telling a tale of both tragedy and survival in the remote Icelandic landscape. Number 4. The Last House on Holland Island. Step into the world of Holland Island, where a resilient Victorian home stood tall in Dorchester County, Maryland. The gorgeous home battled the elements and shoreline erosion for over a century. It's like a real-life version of Survivor, where the house fought to remain on the map. But unfortunately, the rising waters had other plans. Holland Island was settled way back in the 1600s, and it was named after its first owner, the legendary Daniel Holland. For nearly 200 years, this little island had a rather uneventful existence, with its small colony settlement. But in the 1850s, things got crazy. A fishing and farming boom hit the Chesapeake area, and people flocked to Holland Island like seagulls to a fish market. By 1890, the island was thriving with a massive waterman community, and by 1910, just 20 years later, it housed a whopping 360 residents, making it the hottest spot in Chesapeake Bay. It was a popular place with around 70 structures including homes, shops, a school, a post office, general stores, and a church. They had their own doctor, a community center, and they even had a baseball team that had to take boats to their away games. The island was a bustling hub of activity. Nearly 90 vessels called Holland Island home, with fishermen chasing fish, crabs, and oysters in search of their fortunes. But here comes the plot twist. The lack of solid rock foundation made Holland Island susceptible to erosion. It was made of mud and silt, which didn't stand a chance against the crashing waves. And add to that the rising sea levels from melting polar caps, and you've got a recipe for a disappearing island. In 1914, the erosion became undeniable. The island's residents did everything in their power to delay this, importing stones to build walls and even sinking boats to slow the process. But in the end, their efforts were in vain. Most residents had to abandon their homes and seek refuge on the mainland. Some brave souls stayed behind, but a tropical storm in 1918 dealt the final blow to the already deteriorating island, and the last family moved away when the rain and winds damaged the settlement's church. Years went by, and Holland Island sat abandoned, a shadow of its former self. Then, in 1995, Stephen White, Methodist minister and former waterman, bought the island for $70,000. He had big dreams of preserving its legacy and created the Holland Island Preservation Foundation. For 15 years, White fought tooth and nail against the relentless water. He built breakwaters, laid sandbags, dropped rocks, and even used an excavating machine and a bulldozer. But Mother Nature had a plan, and she wasn't changing course. She laughed in the face of his efforts, leaving White with nothing but a hefty bill of $150,000 and a shrinking island. Government officials were sympathetic, but they had their hands full too. Funding for projects was scarce, and most of the land in Chesapeake Bay was privately owned, including Holland Island. Then, in 2010, the last surviving house finally met its match. After withstanding 125 years of storms and erosion, it collapsed into a one-story heap, giving in to the inevitable forces of nature. And the island itself didn't last much longer, and by 2012 it had completely eroded, leaving no trace behind. So, if you ever find yourself exploring Google Maps, take a peek at the pre-2011 satellite images to catch a glimpse of this remarkable island and its brave Victorian home before they both vanished into thin air. Would you like to visit this house? Let us know in the comments and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. Number 3. Strange Spheres. Harvard professor A.V. Loeb recently embarked on a remarkable expedition in the Pacific Ocean, searching for evidence of an advanced alien civilization. Loeb and his team discovered tiny remnants of unknown material that could potentially be from an extraterrestrial object that crashed into the Pacific nearly a decade ago. The expedition, off the coast of Papua New Guinea, turned up 50 small spheres weighing a total of 35 milligrams, which were collected for analysis. One of the recovered objects, labeled IM-1, caught Loeb's attention due to its remarkable material strength, surpassing that of any space rocks previously examined by NASA. This peculiar characteristic suggests a source from a natural environment beyond our solar system, perhaps even an extraterrestrial civilization more technologically advanced than ours. Although the collected materials are tiny and can only be observed through a microscope, their spherical and perfectly round shape has intrigued the scientists. While the size of the objects might have prevented Loeb's daughter from fashioning them into a necklace, their microscopic examination revealed droplet-like structures resembling molten raindrops. Loeb drew a parallel to blood droplets, hoping that studying the object's composition would provide clues about their origin. The retrieval of these materials from the ocean floor was accomplished using a large magnet. The objects were found along the trajectory of a runaway fireball that exploded in the Earth's lower atmosphere in 2014, before plunging into the water. The collected materials will undergo further analysis to determine their elemental and isotopic composition, and the findings will be reported in a peer-reviewed journal. Regardless of the final conclusions, the expedition has been hailed a success. Loeb and his team embarked on this journey to answer the age-old question, are we alone in the universe? The fireball we mentioned earlier was initially classified as a meteor, but its exceptional speed and trajectory hinted at an extraterrestrial origin. And this is what led the official confirmation of these findings by the Space Force's Space Operations Command and subsequent planning of the expedition by NASA. The journey wasn't without its challenges, but the crew's optimism kept them going. Despite initial setbacks, the team persisted, and their dedication paid off. Loeb even shared in an interview with Fox News that a crew member brought champagne bottles, symbolizing their confidence in the mission. Through this extraordinary expedition, Loeb believes they've gained a unique perspective into the universe, and by examining material that arrived at our doorstep from beyond the solar system, they've opened a new window into understanding our place in the vast cosmos. Number 2. Nevada's Junk Forest. The International Car Forest of the Last Church is a fascinating collection of junk cars and buses, half buried in the Nevada desert. Located in the semi-ghost town of Goldfield, this unique automobile art installation is a sight to behold. Artists Chad Sorg and Mark Rippey have transformed about 40 vehicles into captivating pieces of graffiti-covered art. As you explore this peculiar forest, you'll find cars parked on hills, others stacked on top of each other, and even some buried in the sand. Each vehicle tells a story through its colorful graffiti and imagery, giving them a new lease on life, even if they'll never hit the road again. While Goldfield itself is a forgotten town, the junk car forest has become a modest tourist attraction, drawing in curious visitors from far and wide. Although neither artist currently resides in the city, Mark Rippey still owns the property, ensuring the preservation of this unique art installation. If you're looking for adventure in Goldfield, aside from exploring abandoned gold mines, the junk car forest is your go-to destination. Once a bustling town with a population of nearly 20,000 in 1906, Goldfield has experienced a significant decline. A fire in 1923 destroyed many of its original buildings, leaving only a few survivors like the Goldfield Hotel and High School. Today, the town is home to approximately 400 hardy souls, offering limited amenities, including a motel, a small museum, and a couple of dining options like the Santa Fe Saloon and Dinky Diner. However, the junk car forest stands out as the main tourist attraction in Goldfield. If you happen to be traveling between Las Vegas and Reno on US 95, make sure to visit the International Car Forest of the Last Church in your itinerary. Situated just outside Goldfield along Nevada Highway 95, this intriguing art installation welcomes visitors with open arms. There are no fences, allowing you the freedom to roam around and capture memorable photos. As you approach Goldfield from Las Vegas, you'll spot the car forest on your right before entering the town. Goldfield is located roughly 200 miles from Las Vegas, approximately a 3-hour drive, and it's only 70 miles from Beatty, Nevada. So whether you're a lover of quirky art or simply seeking a unique roadside attraction, the International Car Forest of the Last Church promises an unforgettable experience amidst the Nevada desert landscape. And at number 1, the Amazon's Awa tribe. The next topic we're going to discuss isn't so much a strange thing, but an entire people that's remained sheltered from the rest of society. Deep within the Amazon rainforest, far from the conveniences of modern life, exists uncontacted tribes that have managed to preserve their way of life for centuries. Among them is the Awa tribe, considered one of the most threatened indigenous groups on the planet. Recently, a rare video captured by a neighboring tribe shed light on the Awa people, drawing attention to their endangered status. The Awa tribe, also known as the Gwaha or Awa Gwaha, resides deep within the Amazon rainforest. Since the arrival of European colonizers in the 1800s, they've adopted a nomadic lifestyle to avoid contact with outsiders encroaching on their jungle home. Tragically, not much has changed for the Awa Gwaha people over the years. The threat of violence from loggers and deforestation has forced many of them off their ancestral lands. But despite these challenges, approximately 100 Awa individuals remain isolated in the heart of the jungle to safeguard their tribe from external influences. Their remarkable survival skills contribute to their resilience, as children in the tribe from a young age learn to handcraft their own bows and arrows for hunting. Beyond survival, though, the Awa tribe boasts a rich culture of craftsmanship adapted to their unique environment. They utilize palm tree fibers to create tools, hammocks, and other necessities. The Awa venture out on gathering trips to collect nuts and berries accompanied by their extended family groups. These groups also embark on hunting excursions that can last for weeks at a time, constructing makeshift shelters from palm leaves and crafting torches from tree resin along the way. They even form friendly relationships with neighboring forest dwellers and keep primates as pets, with baby monkeys often found comfortably resting on the heads or backs of Awa children. Over the years, the Awa tribe has faced constant threats to their Amazonian home. Their seclusion became so extreme that developers even began to question their existence, seeking excuses to exploit the remaining untouched lands within their territory. However, despite the doubts, the Awa tribe persists, resiliently adapting to their environment. And in July of 2019, a discreetly recorded video captured a member of the Awa tribe in the dense vegetation of the rainforest. This footage, filmed by the neighboring Guajajara tribe, aimed to prove the existence of the Awa people. The Guajajara tribe, also under threat from loggers, farmers, and miners, have joined forces with non-government organizations like Survival International to protect indigenous rights and preserve the Maranhão forest in Brazil's northeast region. Amidst increasing deforestation and lenient regulations, the presence of native tribes like the Awa Guaja has fueled demands for greater protections of their territories. In 2003, the Awa lands were legally recognized, resulting in the safeguarding of 4,800 square miles of seasonally dry woodlands located to the west of the Amazon rainforest. However, the Awa people, particularly those living in isolation beyond the designated protected territories, remain at risk of violence. Many tribespeople have been forced to flee from armed loggers, and they end up seeking refuge in contacted settlements. To ensure the tribe's protection, it's essential for the government to enforce the laws in place, as they're the only defense against further encroachment on the Awa's ancestral lands. As environmental advocates rally for increased safeguards and indigenous rights, the situation the Awa tribe now finds itself in serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between preserving cultural heritage and protecting the planet's most biodiverse regions. Would you rather stumble upon the remains of what you believe is an extraterrestrial vehicle, or find evidence of an unidentified, long-forgotten indigenous tribe in the middle of the Amazon rainforest? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.